Just as a disclaimer, we want you to know that some of the movies that we will be reviewing were shot in a different time and era where people of race and sex were not treated equally. We understand this and hope you do too. The movies or anything that happened on the sets are not the views of this podcast or what this show is intended to be all about.
Exactly. And we want to give due diligence in presenting the movie and not the views of the cast or directors or anyone involved. But we also feel it's necessary to let the audience know some of the background information to get a feel for what was happening at the time of shooting the film. Again, we hope you understand that we do not agree with everything that went on, and we just want to give out the information. And with that being said, hope you enjoy the show.
In this city, under cover of darkness, someone is stalking Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor?
Yes.
Sarah Connor, 35, brutally shot to death in her home.
You're dead, honey.
What's this? Dead girl, too. Sarah Louise Connor. Is this right?
She doesn't know why, but it's her he's after.
Did you reach the next girl yet? No, I keep getting an answer machine.
Pick up if you're there. I'm really scared. I think that there's somebody after me.
And no one can help her, except for one man.
Make things like that yet.
Not yet. Not for about 40 years.
Are you saying it's from the future?
Came to fight for the one woman who could save their future.
Computer thinks it can win by killing the mother of its enemy.
I came across time for you, Sarah.
The other to kill her. And now Sarah Connor's world has become a battlefield, with her at ground zero and the Terminator closing in. An adventure unlike anything you've ever seen before. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator.
Greetings once again. Somehow you stumbled across the Tragedy of Cinema podcast once again. I'm your host, Jimbo, and my ever-loving Pokemon...
Terrence.
Terrence. This is episode 33 where we'll be discussing The Terminator. This is a fun movie. I know it's some people's favorites, so we're going to try to do it justice. But before we get into it, Terrence, you know what time it is.
Yes, let's do it.
What, Terrence, the question, well, we're going to have two questions. The first question is, what do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger's best movie is?
His best movie, okay. He is...
Or your favorite. Either,
Okay.
whichever way you want to look at it, or both.
My favorite is, what's the movie with him and
I don't know.
Danny DeVito?
Twins.
Twins, yeah, Twins. I love Twins.
Okay, you said. I think the one that I like the most is probably Commando, where they take his daughter and he just goes commando.
Yeah.
After all the people ripping out cars and the car seats and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. And of course, what prop would you take from the Terminator, bud?
I had the hand at the end.
The hand.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I think probably the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Or his sunglasses, or
that's
the
small.
eyeball,
right?
rips out. Yeah,
I always think small when I think of props because
where you go to store it, right?
Exactly, yeah. Because I'm always moving from one place to the next, and I'm like, well, it'd be cool to have these bigger props or a motorcycle or something like that.
So for those keeping record, Terrence has Forrest Gump's ping pong paddle, and he has the Terminator hand. So, all right,
and some burnt.
Not yet, you know.
That's right.
We may have had a couple other episodes already recorded, so he can't go into spoilers. So, right. So, Terrence, let's go ahead and take it away.
What prop would you? Oh yeah, you said the motorcycle.
The motorcycle, or I don't know.
Tight as always.
Yeah. Go ahead, let's dive into it.
The Terminator, release date October 26, 1984. Its budget was estimated at $6.4 million. For today, that is $5 million.
I'm sitting there thinking, you said 1940. I was 7.
15 million.
I was
15 million.
I was just had turned 7 years old.
Crazy.
That is crazy. I didn't know it had been out that long. It seems like, well, not that I'm not that old, but I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's been that long. So time's flying.
I'm a -5.
You wasn't even a twinkle in your mom's eye yet.
Opening weekend USA, that is $4 million, 9.4 million for today. Gross USA is $38 million, and then $90.3 million. Worldwide gross $78.4 million, and that's $184.7 million today.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it definitely made its money back. This was directed by the James Cameron. Writing credits goes to, so this was written by James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd. And then additional dialogue as William Wisher Jr. was William Wisher. The technical specs: runtime, 1 hour 47, so just a little bit longer than your average movie length. Sound mix, we're looking at mono for the original release, Dolby for the DVD re-release, and DTS HD master audio. This is a color movie. Its aspect ratio also varies, so that's very interesting that we have different aspect ratios. So the VHS release was 1.33 by 1.
VHS, what's that?
Negative ratio is 1.66 by 1. The DVD Blu-ray release is 1.78 by 1. And then finally there was another release. It doesn't specify, but I'd imagine it's either theatrical. It's 1.85 by 1. One that we haven't seen yet is, and then it probably only is like a few movies, but I wonder if any of the movies that we'll cover in the future will be like, oh, here was the Betamax aspect ratio.
It might, if they have information on it.
The camera that was used was the Aeroflex 35BL Zeiss lenses.
That seems like the first time we've heard about that one.
Yeah, 35R3 for special effects. So a special camera was used for the special effects in general. And you can tell, but I think it's still really well done, that, obviously there's an overlay when it comes to the special effects. So it's a new type of special effect that, we've seen, at least, on the podcast. The laboratory, this was edited in. This was Consolidated Film Industries in Hollywood, USA for the processing, and then Deluxe Hollywood for the print. So it stayed in Hollywood, but it jumped between two different editing laboratories. Film length, we're looking at 2,924 meters, and that's the cut version. And then the full version was 2,935. And now I never realized that there was a cut version. Let's see. Negative format, 35 millimeter. Cinematographic process, digital intermediate for the 2012 remaster. Spherical. Printed film format, 35 millimeter. And now for the awards. Right at the top, we are right back to the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, USA.
Okay, before you start, Do you consider this a science fiction movie or a horror movie?
I would say more so. After watching it, from what I remembered before watching it, I would have said, like, my memory turned out failed me, but I'm like, I think it was like more of a horror movie, like a sci-fi slasher. But then you kind of rewatch it. I would categorize it as
because
sci-fi.
He's just basically just keeps coming after him and after him. That's how some people
still kinda
justify
has
it
that
as
feel.
a horror
Exactly.
movie. You know what I mean?
But after rewatching, I'd put it in the more sci-fi than anything, especially because of those flashbacks.
Right.
So it won the Saturn Award for Best Science Fiction Film, Best Writing, James Cameron, Gail Ann Hurd, Best Makeup, Stan Winston, and nominated for the Saturn Awards of Best Actor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Best Actress, Linda Hamilton, Best Director, James Cameron, and Best Music, Brad Fiedel. Then we have the Arias.
The what?
Fantastic.
What was that? Could you say
Festival.
that again? What was it?
Avariz.
See, I don't think we've had that award yet
No,
either.
we haven't. That's 1985 winner grand prize, James Cameron. And who is on the face? Okay. DVD Exclusive Awards 2001 nominated Video Premiere Award Best Original Retrospective Documentary Van Ling for Other Voices Breaking Through Time Creating the Terminator. So this it's not the movie itself, but a documentary based off of this movie. And then Best DVD Menu Design.
Nice.
I haven't actually seen the DVD version of this. When I watched it was VHS copy.
Well, when I watched it, it was the digital. The more recent one was digital, so you don't have a DVD menu on there.
Digital, yeah. And then finally, National Film Preservation Board 2008. So it won the National Film Registry. So now, what I wanted to start doing was, diving into some of these awards that we see a lot in particular, and then talking a little bit about them. And the National Film Preservation Board in general is a board that selects films for preservation in the Library of Congress National Film Registry. It was established by the National Film Preservation Act of 1988. So 1988 is when this award was created, more or less. National Film Registry is meant to preserve up to 25 culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant films each year, and to be eligible, they must be out for at least 10 years. Members of the board also advise Librarian of Congress on ongoing development and implementation of the National Film Preservation Plan. So basically, they just pick 25 movies of significance, and then they go, okay. And you can also submit some movies yourself.
I think we're gonna next year. Our goal is to get one show that we have covered into the library.
Well, that's the thing, is like a lot of them are already on there.
Well, right, but it also goes off by how the public can contribute, and suggest movies. So I figure if all of our listeners email the Library of Congress about a movie that is not in there that we've covered, we should push it in there, right?
And so I'll go into just a tad bit of who comprises of this board, right? So the board is appointed by the Librarian of Congress and is composed of representatives from professional organizations representing the film industry, archives, scholars, filmmakers, and others who comprise a diverse American motion picture community. And that's the other sort of requirement is, it's an American movie.
How would you love to have that job? I think we need to be on that
I know, right?
thing, right?
We got to become more influential so we can be on this board.
Right.
This is explicitly it is composed up to 5 at-large members with 5 alternatives and 17 member alternate pairs from the following 18 organizations. And then it lists a bunch of organizations, and let's see if we fall under any of these. Doesn't look like it. Anyway, unless we somehow get into the Writers Guild of America.
Well, you said 2 at large. I was like, they didn't say too large, or we would have been, hey, that's us.
All right, so I also wanted to name some of the movies that this also made the board with. So some other movies that made the board at the same time in 2008. We're looking at The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. That came out in 1958. Deliverance,
It's a good movie.
1972, Sergeant York, 1941,
Good
and
movie.
then a movie that we've covered on this show, The Invisible Man.
Yes, sir.
1930.
And I like how they don't just stick to 1 year when they put them in; that they spread it out.
They do, yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool.
And yeah, so that's pretty much the everything about the National Film Preservation
Right.
Board. Since we've seen it so much, and next time we see it, which I feel like it always another one that always pops up. But next time I'll cover Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. So look forward to that. Moving on to the next award ceremony, which is Online Film and Television Association 2019. It won the OFTA Film Hall of Fame Motion Picture. Then we have a new award. Another new award.
This
we haven't
award
seen.
is awesome.
It's the Yoga Awards 2004. So
What's it
winner,
for?
Special,
It won what?
Special award, Worst Trilogy, James Cameron for Terminator 2
I love it.
and Terminator 3.
But yeah, well,
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
right? That's the name of
And
Terminator 2.
Terminator 3
but what I'm
Rise
saying
of the
is,
Machines, yeah.
Terminator 2 was probably the best of the Terminators.
And it's
But
awesome,
then
yeah.
Terminator 3 was probably the worst. You know what I mean? So I guess you got to take the good with
Which
the bad.
I guess is why they retconned
Right,
it.
and we'll dive into a little bit of James Cameron here, a little bit of how this is like his first major chance at a motion picture, and there's some stuff that happened that we'll tell you about. But first, let's talk about the cast. And Terrence, you're not gonna believe some of these names that was going to play in this movie.
alternatives.
So when I say the name and then I tell you the names that could have played them or actually auditioned for, I want you to say no, yes, I can see that. No, there's no way. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's one that's just going to kill you. It's hilarious. So here we go. Arnold Schwarzenegger played the Terminator. He was a cybernetic android disguised as human being sent back in time to assassinate Sarah Connor.
Yep.
Which is basically what I just told you was the synopsis, since we didn't have one wrote down, right? So, but here we go. Here's some people. Are you ready?
All right.
That was going to play the actual Terminator. Mel Gibson. Yes or no?
Oh, Mel Gibson.
Could you see him?
No.
Okay. Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck. That'd be interesting. I'm gonna put maybe.
Kevin Kline.
I don't know.
Michael Douglas.
I think I can see Michael Douglas.
Kevin Costner.
No, not Kevin Costner.
I think I could see him playing Reese.
Yeah, I
maybe.
can see him playing Reese.
John Travolta.
No.
Robin Williams.
Ooh, no.
Jack Nicholson.
He just might be able to pull off,
Martin Sheen.
But I think if hold on, just to jump back on Jack Nicholson, I feel like he'd have a totally different vibe if it was Jack Nicholson.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like more of a crazed machine. Like
Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen. Nah.
Harrison Ford.
Wow, there's so many. No.
Richard Gere.
No.
Jürgen Prochnow.
I don't even know.
I don't either, but Ron Perlman.
I could see Ron Perlman.
Stephen Lang.
What else was Stephen Lang in? Name doesn't ring a bell.
Chevy Chase.
Ooh.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
That would have been an interesting
That
one, I
would have
think.
been an interesting choice.
Alec Baldwin.
No.
And are you ready? Are you ready for this one?
Let's go.
O.J. Simpson was considered for the Terminator, but the producers feared he was too nice to be taken seriously as a cold-blooded killer. This was, of course, before Simpsons the first Simpson trial. The Dark Horse Comics actually printed issues using his likeness. I was like, wow, he was too nice. I just thought that was funny.
To be honest, though, I could see it. Yeah, that's interesting. So many.
I mean, I could
people.
see more like like Lou Gossett Jr. I think he would have been a good one. You know what I mean? Somebody. So here we go. Michael Biehn, who played Kyle Reese, who was the resistant fighter who sent back in time to protect Sarah.
Yep.
We had Bruce Willis.
Okay, yeah.
Sting.
That would have been interesting.
Not the NWO Sting, but Sting, the musician.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. That's an interesting choice.
It would have been Sylvester Stallone again.
Okay.
And Richard Gere. So Richard Gere got another.
Okay, here's while we're on was it Kyle Reese, right? Originally, when, I don't remember if we talked about it before or if I was talking about it with somebody else, but originally Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted to play the part of Kyle Reese. But something about, I forgot, he had talks with like...
We'll get to it.
Okay, gotcha.
We'll get to it.
So you do have that
it's when he read the script with James Cameron.
That's right.
We'll talk about it. Linda Hamilton played Sarah Connor, the Terminator's target, who is soon to be the mother of the future resistance leader, John Connor. So they auditioned / wanted / tried out for Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Davis,
Okay.
Julie Louis-Dreyfus from Seinfeld fame, and Leia Thompson. I don't really think you could go bad with any of those.
Yeah, but I'm actually glad they chose who they chose.
Right.
I mean...
Well, no, that's just because you know who she is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I'm not so much thinking in terms of the first one. I'm thinking, like, because I really like her in the second one.
Right. And I know she's in the new one, but, you know, I think, wasn't Emilia Clarke in one of, like, Genesis or the other one, Salvation or something? And then there was another person that played. But we'll get to those in future episodes. Paul Winfield as Ed Traxler, a police lieutenant who questioned Sarah. They wanted, who also tried for this, was Edward James Olmos.
Okay, yeah.
And Lou Gossett Jr., so...
Edward James Olmos would have been a good one.
Yeah. Lance Henriksen as Vukovich, a member of the LAPD. Earl Boyne as Dr. Silberman, a criminal psychologist. Bess Mata, Ginger, which was Sarah's roommate. And Rick Rossovich as Matt, Ginger's boyfriend. And last but not least, Bill Paxton. He was the punk gang leader or whatever at the opening scene.
Yeah.
So I thought I had to throw him in there.
That would have been a fun little, like,
So a little bit about this. This is the shortest Terminator movie at 107 minutes.
Wow, okay.
There was something else I had to say here at the beginning. Man, these notes, man. One of these days I'll get serious about this. But we'll just go ahead and talk, and then when I get to it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So you're saying this...
Oh, here it is.
Okay.
In a 2000 interview with Lance Henriksen, James Cameron had no agent and was either living in his car or sleeping on the couch of a friend when he wrote the script for the film. Cameron had actually fired his agent because he didn't like the story ideal Cameron had conceived for this film.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was like, wow.
I mean, that's the belly of the beast with Hollywood. It sucks. Like, you'll come up with an original idea that could be really good, and then, like, you know,
right.
You got, you know, the Hollywood exec side of things, or like agents going like, nah, let's change it. And as a, you know, a creative mind, you want to see your idea take, you know, flourish and not be changed so much.
Well,
so yeah,
there was also a science fiction author, Harlan Ellison, sued James Cameron, claiming that while he hugely enjoyed the film, he felt the story was plagiarized from the two of the Outer Limits of 1963 episodes that he had written, namely The Outer Limits Soldier from 1964 and The Outer Limits Demon with a Glass Hand from 1964. The concept of Skynet could also have been borrowed from an Ellison short story called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Oh, man.
The suit was settled out of court, and newer prints of the film acknowledged Ellison. Cameron has claimed that this settlement was forced upon him by the producers, who refused to support him. He felt that Ellison made invalid and opportunistic claims and wanted to the case to go to trial. However, the insurance company told him that he would be held personally responsible for financial damages in the event that he lost the trial. Since he was short on money at the time, Cameron couldn't take the risk.
Yeah.
So he had no choice but to accept the settlement, a fact that he has always resented.
Oh, wow. Speaking of which, the I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, that book is absolutely bonkers.
Oh, have you seen it? Read it?
I've read it, and there's an old point-and-click adventure game that's based off the book.
I should have known it was...
It is equally bonkers, because I played the game first and I read the book, and oh my gosh, it's... Whew.
Right. So I'm sure I got some other stuff in here about James Cameron, and I'll get to it, but let's go ahead and start talking about Arnold. Arnold was considered so indispensable for the film that when he went off to do Conan the Destroyer in 1984 first, they were prepared to wait rather than have him recast for him during the intern or whatever.
I'm glad they did.
Right. So another thing is, contrary to popular belief, Lance Henriksen was never going to be the Terminator. However, James Cameron based some of his early sketches on Terminator in his likeness.
Okay, yeah.
So Cameron pitching the film's idea to the producer in a rather unique way. He prepared himself for the meeting by dressing up in some leathers, this is Henriksen, adding a cut on his head and putting gold foil on his teeth. 15 minutes before the meeting, he kicked the door to the office in. He then just silently sat there and stared at the producers, which made them gradually uncomfortable. When Cameron arrived, Henriksen left the room. He later heard that one of the producers even said, "I don't care who you use for the Terminator, just not him."
Oh, wow.
So he must have done his job to help get the movie done.
I know, right?
Right. Oh, by the way, Deborah Winger was James Cameron's first choice for Sarah Connor.
Okay.
And also Michelle Pfeiffer. This is the page I was looking for. Michelle Pfeiffer, Diane Lane, and Carrie Fisher were all considered to play the part, and both Sharon Stone and Kelly McGillis auditioned for the role.
Imagine, no man, that's pretty.
That's a good list.
Carrie Fisher would have been interesting to see in the role of Sarah Connor, especially for 2. I think that would have been interesting.
So the beginning of production was postponed for 9 months due to Schwarzenegger's commitment to Conan the Destroyer. During that time, James Cameron wanted to be working, but didn't have the time to do a whole other film. He had a talk with some producers at 20th Century Fox who liked his screenplay, The Terminator, and gave him a writing assignment. This turned out to be Aliens from 1986.
Wow.
On the same day, he was also asked to write a script for Rambo: First Blood Part 2. While handling these 2 assignments, he also did additional work on his Terminator screenplay, writing each script at night at a different desk in order to keep the projects apart. He calculated how many pages he had to write each night by dividing the total number of pages by the number of waking hours per night. So this guy, this was his first production, and then he has those 2 he wrote.
What's crazy is, like, as he's doing this, he's writing other big hits, and he has no idea.
Right.
Like, that's insane.
You haven't even got your first one in the can. You know.
I mean, that means, man, what a creative guy.
Right.
So, like, to be able to concentrate on each project. I mean, the different desk is a good
That is a really good idea.
Because it'll get you in the mindset of that particular project.
Right.
Where, like, I think if they were all together, it would have been easy to get ideas jumbled up. But
throughout the 80s, I know you had barely been on the scene yet, if you've been on the scene at all in the 80s. There was the big thing was Stallone versus Arnold versus Stallone. You know, it was a big action movie thing. That's why they hardly ever worked together until The Expendables, I do believe.
Yeah, pretty much.
But if you remember in the Last Action Hero movie with Arnold, they go through a Blockbuster store, and there is a cardboard cutout of Sylvester Stallone dressed like the Terminator.
Yeah.
So I thought that's a good nod. You know what I mean? Also, Peter Kent. He was a stunt double for Arnold for this movie, and he did the Arnold stunts for the next 10 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
So
that's solid stunt work.
Man, all right, we're rolling through these. Let's see. Arnold was originally being considered to play Kyle Reese instead of the Terminator. The bodybuilder turned actor had made a name for himself in The Long Goodbye, Pumping Iron, and Conan the Barbarian. And when Orion Pictures executives Mike Medavoy met the actor at a party, he sent him the script for consideration. James Cameron, however, had envisioned Reese as a non-bulky and more sensitive man, so he was less than enthusiastic about casting a former Mr. Universal in the pivotal role. Largely on Medavoy's insistence, he went out to meet and have lunch with Schwarzenegger anyway. He later admitted that he had planned to pick a fight with him so that he could claim that the actor was impossible to work with. But against his expectations, they got along just fine, and Schwarzenegger showed great enthusiasm about the script in general and its dark antagonist in particular, providing tips on how this villain should behave. It was then that Cameron had a change of heart and offered Schwarzenegger the title role of the Terminator, saying, "This movie is not about heart," and offered Schwarzenegger the title role of the Terminator. Oh, it's not about heart, or let me get this right. This movie is not about the hero, it's about the Terminator. Schwarzenegger gladly accepted, even overruling his agent who advised him against playing villains. Cameron and Schwarzenegger have been good friends ever since.
I think it's really good that he did that, because not playing a villain would leave him in a more typecast.
Exactly.
You know?
And how many,
he has an agent that's trying to typecast him, and that's us. So it's
and
like,
how many actors have we went through that said? I think of Norman Bates, Anthony Daniel, not Anthony, that's C-3PO, Anthony Perkins.
Yeah.
You know, I think about him. Remember, all he got was some crazy things. He said Psycho typecasted him, so he couldn't get anything. I think of the guy from the Universal Monsters project we did that played the crazy Frankenstein's helper, and they said that he got typecasted for that, and he would always play like the henchman villain. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
And so you know, instead of being the action hero and everything, he gets a chance to play a villain role, and he does great at it. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack in that. So,
Oh yeah, and just James Cameron didn't even want him. That's the
That's
amazing part. And then they
hilarious,
ended
yeah.
up becoming friends, and they're still friends to this day. You know what I mean? But what I found funny is you have this movie where Arnold is the Terminator is the bad guy.
Yeah.
In Terminator 2, what's he become? He becomes the good guy.
good guy,
You know,
yeah.
so it's very interesting.
and I mean, he just seems like a really interesting, nice guy to meet.
You know, Arnold or
Yeah,
James
Arnold.
Cameron? Yeah, Arnold. I think would be
Arnold, like, I've
awesome.
seen a lot of interviews of just like him just making videos, and he just seems like a really chill, like genuinely nice dude. So it's no surprise that after James Cameron met him, he changed his mind.
This is another cool fact. The Terminator is the only character to be listed in the American Film Institute's 100 Heroes and Villains as both a villain for this film and a hero for Terminator 2.
Yep.
Al Pacino is the only other actor to be listed as playing a villain and a hero, but Pacino did it by playing two different characters. 13 other actors and actresses appear twice or more, but either as all heroes or as all villains.
There's other actor bounces between hero and villain, Sean Bean.
Yeah, but he always dies in all those movies.
That's also true. Hero or villain, he does die.
Right.
Spoiler alert for any Sean Bean movie.
Right, but you think about that. Those are the only. I was trying to think of somebody else that's played the same character as a good guy and a bad guy, and it's hard to think of one.
The biggest.
I mean, I guess
Alan Rickman. In a way, I guess he's more like
he's more of a
anti-hero villain.
Yeah. I would probably say, what's his name? It's not going to come to me.
What was he in?
Well, no, I was going to say like, let's say Harley Quinn, for instance, in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
She played the good guy, but she was a bad guy too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Margot Robbie.
They were the bad guys that stopped the bigger bad guy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
therefore, she was a hero, right?
Yeah.
So
anti-hero,
right?
And that.
So I'm just saying, she played them both in one movie, though. You know
That's
what I'm
true,
saying?
yeah.
So just something like that. So moving on. So as you can tell, Arnold just killed it in this movie.
Yeah.
I think he did really good. The Terminator's motorcycle, like I said, I would keep. Remember, it was later displayed in Arnold Schwarzenegger's restaurant Planet Hollywood. So that's pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about the actual. We'll talk about Linda Hamilton for a little bit. Linda Hamilton actually broke her ankle prior to production.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
So most of the chase scenes were moved towards the end of the shooting schedule to allow her leg to heal.
Okay. Yeah,
Her ankle had to be taped every day so she could do her running. But
Yeah.
she spent most of the time doing the shoot in pain.
ouch.
So, I mean,
I'm glad it didn't like permanently affect her, as we've seen in other, at least that we know of. That we've
well, what
we've
was it?
seen
Boris Karloff, I think, had permanent back problems from
Yep.
making that guy, making him carry him, remember, and all that.
And then, there's a handful of other actors that we've covered in other podcasts that got an injury and it still sticks with them to this day.
Right, she did a fantastic job too. But the fog, remember the fog in the fog during the scenes when Reese and Sarah Connor, when they leave the bridge where they spent the night, is actually bug spray, because due to the big fly scare, there was a big fly scare in the county during the location where they were filming. So they said they were going to wait until the spray, was gone, but they was like, we'll just use it as a special effect instead, right? So it's pretty cool. That was an Easter egg on the DVD. Also, Carews Restaurant, which is where Sarah Connor worked, was filmed only 0.6 miles from Pee-wee's house in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Well then,
Hey,
contrasting locations,
right? Most of the car scenes were shot at normal speed, and then they were sped up slightly to add more sense for the speed. They would put actually lights on cars alongside the road to make it look like they were going faster, with revolving lights. It made it seem like the car was passing other light sources as it's going. So
that's a neat
it's a little trick
little
of sleight of camera, I guess. But speaking of cameras, they use handheld cameras for some of the scenes too.
Oh wow! Okay.
So they wanted to give energy to the scene, where they would could focus better or whatever. And they just, the way they caught that, they said we couldn't get it better any other way.
Yeah.
So that was from cinematographer Adam Greenberg. Arnold Schwarzenegger allegedly, now this is just hearsay,
Allegedly,
delayed the start of filming by 2 days by claiming that the custom-made leather jacket wasn't manly enough.
That's hilarious.
It won't fit.
Actually, you know what? Oh, now that I think about it, maybe that would be like that'd be a fun prop too to have that leather jacket, huh? And I wanted to jump back to
and the
camera.
sunglasses.
Oh yeah, the sunglasses. You got to go together, right?
Right.
Jumping back to the camera, I want to throw out an interesting fact about just camera work in general. So when it comes to camera work, you know how you get a difference between how movies look and how let's just say soaps. You know how soaps like look totally different from like movies, and the difference is the frames per second. Movies are films, like majority of movies are like 25 frames per second, and where like soap operas and stuff are at a higher frames per second. So
right.
we're looking at like like 60. Kind of like video games are typically at 60. And so when you get that super clearness, it just seems so weird from regular cinema. So typically, like, let's say you're using like a phone camera or like a handheld camera, they're filming at the higher FPS, and that's why when you're using your own personal camera to like make a fun little home video movie or something like that, right, it has that contrasting difference because movies are edited to be at a lower FPS to get that cinema feel.
Right. And what was that movie? It looked like it was from the point of view of the person.
Yeah.
What was that movie where all you seen was his hands? It looked like a GoPro on top of his head, but you never saw the actor.
Action Henry or something.
Henry. I was going to say Henry something, but I don't know what it was. You know what I mean? And I didn't know if that was something like they used for this, because they caught a lot of action with that too. You know what I mean? So
you can tell it in the fluidity of in the fluidity of movement almost. And like I said, when you're watching like a soap opera, you just get that like feel that someone's holding a camera, and the reason why is because it's at a higher FPS. So if you like wanted to make it more cinema looking, you lower the frames per second.
Right. So a little thing that Arnold did before being cast as the Terminator, he actually went back and watched Westworld, the movie from 1973, which starred Yul Brynner, which if you go back to, I think it's our 7th episode, The Magnificent Seven, starring Yul Brynner, you can hear a whole bunch of stuff about him in that.
Have you seen that movie?
But, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But Yul Brynner plays a robot in that film.
Yep.
Okay. So during their first meeting, Schwarzenegger talks to James Cameron about, the Terminator should be played like this, and that whoever plays it shouldn't act like a machine, but be a machine.
Yeah.
And this convinced Cameron to cast Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. Because, this guy was doing some groundwork, you know what I mean?
That's a good place to start.
Oh, yeah. The iconic catchphrase of I'll be back.
Yeah.
It almost became I will be back. But because he thought it sounded more machine-like without a contraction, he also felt I'll sound too feminine. It was the one major disagreement between James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger. All Cameron had to say to this, that was, I don't tell you how to act, so you don't tell me how to write. I was like, well, I guess we won't cross those paths anymore. The crew that worked, they made T-shirts that says, you can't scare me, I work for James Cameron. I was like, so he's getting a reputation. But you got to remember, this is his first film. He's pouring his heart and soul. He's got his vision he wants to get to. And he's got this shot. This is his shot, and he's like, "You're not going to tell me how to write. I think I got a winner here. Yeah. Just do your part."
And I got to say, this comes up a lot, and it always makes me wonder what happens between certain actors and directors, because you get actors like Edward Norton, who's notoriously known to be incredibly difficult to work with because he's always butting heads with the director, trying to change the artistic direction. He's like, "I really think it should be this." And he won't budge, so either he gets recasted, or they buckle, or the director buckles, and then they take his advice. And so it's very interesting to kind of always see those actors, directors butting heads, as we've seen in some of our other podcasts, right?
Right. The puppet of Arnold Schwarzenegger's face took 6 months to create.
Oh wow,
that's a detailed puppet.
Yeah.
The teaser trailer for this, was narrated by Peter Cullen. Do you know who he is? What is his voice best known for? The robotic hero Optimus Prime from Transformers.
Oh, that's right. I was like, I know the name, but I can't put it to a source.
Right.
Optimus Prime. Autobots roll out.
Transform and roll out. Another thing is, you know how Terminator, that when you look through the Terminator thing and it goes red and it starts zooming in and all the computerized thing.
I thought that was always really cool.
Well, it shows a dump on of the ROM assembler code from the Apple II operating system. If you own an Apple II, enter at the basic prompt, like a smiley face, call -151*P. This will give you the Terminator view. Other code visibly written is COBOL. So,
Okay, yeah. That's
if anybody has an Apple II, let's put that in there and see what it
see
does.
Terminator code.
Right.
So it turns out Terminators run off an Apple operating system. Apple takes over the world.
But hey, predicted the future. Another little thing is, oh, by the way, the "I'll be back" line, it was originally scripted as "I'll come back."
Oh, okay. I'm glad they changed it.
Right.
It doesn't.
The beginning of the movie, there's a special cameo where Sarah Connor receives a message on her answering machine. Remember when she gets that phone call and the guy breaks up with her? Oh, I can't make the day.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah. It's actually James Cameron's voice.
Huh.
Years later, Hamilton and Cameron got married and subsequently divorced. So it's like, well, I guess, one afternoon during a break in filming, Schwarzenegger went into a restaurant in downtown LA to get some lunch, but quickly realized, all too late, that he was still in his Terminator makeup.
That's great.
With a missing eye, exposed jawbone, and burned flesh.
That's fantastic.
He's like, I'll take the soup.
That's fantastic. I still think the best, left in costume was it Magnificent Seven that they all wrote in, still dressed in their Western.
Yeah, something like that. And last but not least, the film was not intended to be a sci-fi action film, but a dark horror film. However, many movie viewers felt the film that was an action movie when they first saw it in theaters. James Cameron was so surprised that he decided to make action movies after this. Months before the release, Cameron did not expect any sort of success in the box office or reviews by critics to come from this film. Ironically, it is now considered to be one of the greatest films of all time.
That's really cool. So it's like if it had not been labeled that, we could have seen a whole different repertoire of movies.
That he would have been writing horror movies instead of science fiction. And look at all the stuff that he's produced. Now he has quite the repertoire now.
I mean, he's one of the most
I would
directors.
say James Cameron, Ron Howard, probably George Lucas and Steven Spielberg,
Stanley Kubrick,
Quentin Tarantino,
Michael Bay is
right. But Michael Bay is just a bunch of explosions.
Yeah, but we know him by name.
Okay, but if you're putting up Michael Bay versus James Cameron, what films are you watching?
Oh, James Cameron, of course. I'm just talking about well-known directors that the sort of the average person would know by name.
Right.
Because let's be honest, when it comes to a lot of the other directors, you wouldn't know them if you heard their name. Where you mention any of the ones we mentioned, they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah. And as much as he cannot be classified in some of the caliber of some of the directors we mentioned, people do know Michael Bay by name because of his
and a lot of those people are destroying my childhood. Michael Bay. So Terrence, that's the Terminator. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on and feelings on this movie.
So I want to give a little background.
Oh, so he's going back in time,
right? So before we watched this, and we were actually talking about it before we actually rewatched it, my memories were hazy of it, but like I had mentioned before briefly, I remember it being more, of a slasher film, and I also remember not being too fond of the movie, but I was also younger, and I think there's probably parts I didn't understand and stuff like that, and it's funny rewatching. I'm like, I think I enjoyed it because it was just better than I remembered. So I came in with low expectations and then ended up enjoying it in the end because I had these really low expectations. And given there was certain parts where I was like, why did that happen? Wait, what? But besides that, I actually really enjoyed it. There was one big can of worms that they opened up with just one line alone, and that's when Sarah Connor's talking to Kyle Reese, and then she's like, well, if you're here, doesn't that mean the future's already set? How could I prevent this if it's technically already happened? He's like, oh, I'm just from one of the many possible timelines.
Right, and that's what we talked about. I was like, so that's what I asked you. I said, so if he would have failed his mission, They could have just sent another Terminator back in time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then they're like, well, then John Connor wouldn't have been born. And you're like, you know, which came first, the chicken or the egg? It's one of those.
So then I guess it's so. Like I said, it opens up this whole confusing talk, and it makes the series more. In that one line, it makes the series convoluted, even though it's not. You know what I mean? It's a very simple story, but just that sentence, because when you start dealing with time travel, it gets wonky and real quick. And that line just threw me for a loop because I'm big in like time travel stuff and time travel movies.
Well, that's like if you remember our Back to the Future episode, if something he messed up in the past still had repercussions in the day, you know what I mean?
And then he always went to like, you know, a different future or past. And so that was just like, wow, okay. So then this is just one of many timelines, which I guess it makes it easy to retcon like they did with the new Terminator. We're like, oh yeah, this takes place right after Terminator 2. So back to Terminator 1. I enjoyed it. It was good. If you are a fan of sci-fi, it's very sci-fi in my opinion. I mean, especially with all the flashbacks, it's very like post-apocalyptic sci-fi, but still sci-fi. You know, with all their laser weapons, and I gotta say, that one scene where you know, he's walking through the little settlement of people, and
at the bar or whatever.
Not at the bar, like so it's in the future, and he's walking through, and he's tired because he's just come back from patrol, and you can see everybody's just disheveled and, you know, barely hanging in there, and then suddenly all the dogs start barking.
Yeah. And
then, you know, the Terminator gets up because he's posed as one of the settlement people, and he just starts mowing people down. That was a really cool scene.
Yeah, there was something I meant to say, and I'm going through all these notes. You see me, but there was an important thing I thought we should talk about.
You look for that. I'll keep droning on.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say it because what Arnold had to do to prepare for this movie is he had to use over 50 different guns. Oh, and wow. He would go. I thought they said that he would go for like several weeks, and he had to be ambidextrous.
Yeah.
So he had to practice with this hand. He would practice this with hand, and then he would practice without even blinking or whatever. And he would load them, unload them, and all that. Just keep going. So when it came to the movie, it portrayed, you know, like natural, like he's a machine. Yeah. And he got so good that, you know, he could do it like a machine. He was able to do it, and I thought that was really cool.
And it's really cool when actors go through
physical training like that.
Physical training, and one in particular, and you can actually watch a video of him online that's recent, is Keanu Reeves with John Wick. Like, you watch him do sort of a speed run of, like, you know, gun obstacle course. Dude's a beast.
And you also see that in the Star Wars movies where they do the lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
They will practice that stuff for hours.
And they actually get formally trained by like sword practitioners and stuff like that. So that's really cool too. And so this is a solid movie. I recommend it. And especially if you were like me, where your memory's hazy of it because you watched it a long time ago, and you're like, I don't think I liked it. Give it another watch and see how you feel. Yeah. Because my mind was totally changed. I'm like, you know what? I like this movie.
Well, it's like when I was talking to you, I was like, man, I was talking to a guy at work because they were supposed to come up here and help us do this episode, but they couldn't make it. I was talking to him, and I said, I was like, you remember, you know, where they're going down the LA freeway, you know, the drainage pipes or whatever they are? And he's like, dude, that's Terminator 2. And I was like, yeah, but do you remember when, you know, he's like going in the molten lava or whatever? He's like, dude, that's Terminator 2. And I was like, well, I don't even know remember what happened in Terminator 1.
That's the other
So I was coming in like a brand new movie, you know, and then once I seen it, I started remembering things. Oh, yeah. But and I will put a warning out there because from the opening scene, there is some language in this.
Yes.
And there is some nudity because they drop in naked from the thing.
This is a hard R for sure. If you didn't know already,
right?
If for some reason you didn't watch it before this episode,
right? But just from once Arnold, I like Arnold when he goes into the. Now, see, I watched Terminator 2, so this may not even be right. But when he goes into the gun store. Is that this one? He's like, I'll take Uzi and I'll take this. He's like, oh well, you know.
I like the part where he's like, I'll take a pulse rifle or something.
Right.
Like
he's
that. He's like, wait, what? And then he just pauses for a second, and he's like, "I'll take the whatever shotgun," and he just jumps back into like.
He's like, okay. He's like, well, we can't do this. He's like, I'll need something so many hours. Or he's like, no, I'll be fine. Or shoots the guy. I mean, and then something else that I found interesting was that because in the movie he goes and he kills all the Sarah Connors. He rips the name out of the phone book and he goes just down the list. And every time he goes to kill one, man, he just plugs them like 6 times. Boom, boom, boom. He's not wasting any time, man. He's wanting to make sure they're dead, so he's capping them 6 times. And I thought that was really interesting. So this movie, it keeps you on the edge of your seat because he chases them, and you think he's dead. You think they stopped him, and he just keeps coming, man. Then he gets in that semi, and Reese throws that grenade in there. And
the pipe bombs.
Right, and throws it in there, and it blows up, and then he's like, she's like, we got him. And then you see him walk out of the flames, dude, just in his full Terminator.
Yeah.
But the scene where he's digging his face, and he takes his eyeball out and it puts it in the sink, you know what I mean? And then
you see the
robot stuff.
Yeah.
And then he always wears sunglasses after that.
Yep.
So I think there was a lot of special effects that this movie was the first to do.
Absolutely.
So I enjoyed that part of it. I enjoyed the story. Like I said, I'm a little confused about the time travel stuff. That really confused me because I told you, I said, I don't understand.
That's what throws off future stuff. And what's interesting.
And if Arnold died in this movie, how can he come back in Terminator 2 and look the exact same?
Okay, they explain that actually. He's a different model.
Well, I know he's a different model, but he looks the exact same. You just see what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. Instead of
so if you're going by that, then the T-1000
I think they sent that one back in time because it was a familiar face for Sarah Connor, and I guess they didn't make the correlation of.
But you remember, she's like, he's going to kill me in Terminator 2. He's like, he's going to kill me. But I guess if they would have sent back Reese, it would have been confusing because he died in her arms or whatever, And just poor her, she spent all that time in the mental house,
Yeah.
But it's really cool that she ended up believing him, and then she starts recording messages for the future, which we'll be talking about in Terminator 2. And I could sit here and talk all night about Terminator 2, but this movie...
I will say that, that alone changes into another timeline, because in the timeline Reese is from, John Connor knows nothing about his father. Where in the recordings, she immediately decides to change that, and...
she's like, I probably shouldn't tell you this.
But I will.
But I'm going to. Or he wouldn't want me to tell you this. Because I always thought it was cool, because if you remember when they did a Flash to the Future, and he has that little picture of her, and you're like, how did he get this picture of her? And at the end of the movie, you see her taking a picture, and that kid, she bought that picture from that kid, and I thought that was pretty cool. So definitely a movie. Definitely check it out. Just a little fair caution about language and a little bit of nudity in there. But I enjoyed it.
Yep, absolutely.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, probably 25 years.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
So thanks for those that recommended it. Also, we wanted to say that this is coming out on, Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout, because there will be another episode dropping tomorrow about 8 o'clock in the morning for your special Thanksgiving treat. We had a special guest come up, and we did with Eric Cummings, and we did planes, trains, and automobiles. So we had a good time. You will not want to miss that, because it's fun. And if you haven't seen that movie, it's great too.
So watch the movie before, if you get time, or
just be careful if you watch it. There's a lot of language in that one too. So but you can listen to that one tomorrow. So with that being said, I would go over all the social media stuff, but we're going to go over it again for tomorrow on Thursday's episode. So make sure you listen to that to catch it all. So
Tragedy of Cinema. Look us up anywhere.
And leave us a review. So, hey, and the downloads are skyrocketing. So
thank you everyone for who's listening.
Yeah, and we're in 22 countries now, 27. I've lost count. I told Terrence, I said, we didn't even put out an episode last week. We went over another 1,000 downloads or something. I was like, what's going on?
It's
the word of mouth's getting out. And I forgot to say it, and I told you to remind me. I want to send a special shout out to my crew at the Valvoline Oil, where I got my oil changed on Monday, on Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky. If you live out that way, go give them a shout out. Matt, Whitney, Jason, they took care of me, and we started talking about the podcast and talking about movies. So I told them I'd shout them out at the episode. So guys, here's your shout out. Next time I'm in, I'm going to see if you listen to this episode. I forgot. I was going to do it at the beginning of the show, and I told Terrence to remind me, but millennial mind, he forgot. So
it's just the mind of a third shift worker. This is past millennial.
And something else now too. We are on YouTube.
Yes.
Somehow I've finagled our way onto YouTube. So the only episode on there right now is the Forrest Gump episode. I'm not sure how to go back and put all the other ones on, but I think we'll see with the release of this one. If this one pops on there, then maybe from here on out they'll go on there.
Yeah.
So, well, with that being said, I think this episode's coming to a close, and that's a wrap. And cut.